Have so much. I know there are so many players in this industry, but giving me a chance as Semmanda Kenneth to speak to Ugandans, I'm humbled, and thank you so much, Mr. Mukasa Ronald, Mr. Chichi, and Enterprise Uganda. I'm glad, I'm humbled. For the audience, thank you so much. I can see we so far have around 33 members. You're most welcome to this session. It's I'm going to take you through quite a number. I was given 5 questions to look at, and I shall look at them. We are here to learn. I may not be the very person to be on top, so we are going to learn together here and there. I think Mr. Mukasa will give us a chance to have questions, and that is the process that we are going to go through. Briefly, if I can go straight to myself, Mr. Mukasa has already done enough of me. My name is Semmanda Kenneth, and I'm the CEO of Wilken Property Services Limited. We are in Nakumbi. He has said he passes on Entebbe Road every day, so you can't miss our signpost around just slightly opposite FDC offices. We are there and we always see us. We also have a branch in Itinda, just around the Stretcher Junction on Shambugo Road. You can't miss the same signposts like the ones you see in Nakumbi. Our niche in business for the last 12 years is property management. We love property and we do property management for most of our times. So the past 12 years, we've been serving clients in that regard. We are happy, we thank God that we have over 2,000 clients. Clients, we talk about those people who own property, call them landlords. And we serve over or approximately 5,000 tenants. Tenants, we call them customers at Wilken Property Services. So we are glad that God has been good on our side to do such an enormous job to contribute to this real estate industry. We are also into buying and selling of land. We have quite a number of estates, especially off Entebbe Road, Nakauka, Jumbo, Kasanje area. Our mode, the part we chose to go with in that section of buying and selling, is the low income kind of plots, because we know Ugandans, some of them, they are younger people, they are the ones we are targeting. So plots between 15 to 30 million, you always get them at Wilken Property Services. And we talk about mile land kind of plots. In the near future, we intend to go into property development. The plan is underway. We shall discuss property development. It's part of my slides. I was given a task of 5 questions, and start with one straight away. Question 1 was how and where to start in the real estate industry. It's quite a huge question, and my approach to the question when I sat down, because I know the 41 members who are here and others who are yet to join, some of them maybe they are new to this industry. So I thought it was that maybe I'll define what is real estate, what is real estate here, especially in the industry here in Uganda. Some of you don't know, but the industry is kind of wide. So we shall look at the different branches of the industry. And then after that, I thought it wise that we look at the SWOT analysis. I developed a SWOT analysis of the whole industry of real estate. And by the end of it all, everybody will be in a position to deal with this how and where. That's the approach I chose for this question. So real estate industry, according to me, refers to land along with any permanent improvement on it, whether natural or man-made. Examples may include buildings, fences, properties, bridges, and etc. Please note that personal property, which is not permanently attached to land, like vehicles, furniture, that is not in our industry of real estate. I know some people own some good posh cars, some furniture, and they call it property. I have my property. Please, that one doesn't fall under this industry of real estate. Real estate, we normally look at those things which are permanently attached to land. The industry in Uganda, I'm glad, and as Wilken Property Services, we are glad that to be contributing to it. As according to the Minister of Finance at the moment, the industry contributes up to 7.5% on our gross domestic product. This is quite huge, and as a player, I'm very glad that the industry is growing. When you look at Uganda, they call us an agricultural country, and agriculture contributes only 23% to the GDP. So if real estate, we are around 7.5%, and it's majorly settled in Kampala, Entebbe, and a few developing towns. So I think we are doing a good job at 7.5%, if that's our contribution on the GDP. So in Uganda, we have up to 5 branches. I said the industry is wide. So I want to break it down so that people can appreciate it very well. We have up to 5 branches of this industry, which include property management, buying and selling of land and property. We have property development, we have agency, and surveying and valuation. All these branches are present and active in Uganda today. Just to look at one after another. Where's my next slide? Okay. Property management. Property management is the one I chose to start with. Property management, here we talk about a service whereby you help landlords, like property owners, to look after their property. You are in charge of the day-to-day running of the business. Talk about collecting rent, taking care of the property, taking care of the bills, making sure the property is clean, and so many things. Reporting to the clients. That's what we mean by property management. It's a very tedious job, I must tell you, but we thank God that Wilken, this is what we do most. We have quite a number of players in this very section. There is Wilken, there is Knight Frank, there is Roll, there is Bagaina and Company. The section is growing in Uganda, and so many other players, but those are the main ones, according to what we have in Uganda today. The second branch of real estate industry is what we call property agency. Property agency, locally we call them brokers, but in a professional way, we call it agency. That's where maybe you don't have elements, you don't own anything, but you know where there's a unit for rent, and you try your level best to look for a customer, then you convince them to take the property, take them to the landlord or to the property manager, and this is what the picture explains, that maybe these people have taken up a property for rent. You know a piece of land that's being sold somewhere, you don't own it, you know the owner, you have a client, and you take them to buy the plot. That is what we call a property agency. Another one is property developers. You see this picture that shows us the properties coming up, mushrooming. This is very common, especially it has taken good shape in the areas of Shira, Nigeria, where people are doing some good business there. We have Building It, we have Southgate, my good brother. Those guys have done a good job in property development. Here, basically, people develop and they sell properties, either condominium, they can sell the whole property. That is also another branch in the real estate industry. We have plots for sale. Buying and selling of land. The picture talks about plot for sale. Here we have very good players. We have Jomai, we have Sema Properties. I talked about Wilken being our service number 2. You just buy a chunk of land, have it into pieces, either 50 by 100, 100 by 100, and then people will come. Akwet did a very good job with the Akwet projects on the Table Road. Those who know, he's one of the first players in this very industry of buying and selling land. He did a tremendous job, especially in the Kakongulu estate. So this is another branch. Those are some of the good players that we have in that section. There's now we can talk about real estate and don't talk about surveying and valuation. Surveying, you know very well, they do when you want to buy land. Opening boundary is a must do. You must open your boundaries to know that the piece of land you're buying is exactly the title you're looking at. And it's always good practice. If you are buying property, go and value it. People know that valuation is only when you want to borrow money from the bank, but it's not true. It's better that you do valuation so that you convince yourself with the prices of the properties that you want to buy. Those are the major branches of real estate in Uganda that we have. And we have so many players here. We have East African surveyors. We have, Knight Frank also does this service. We have Katulamu and Company. All of those companies are in there trying to give us the surveying and valuation. So after appreciating that the industry is wide, allow me to go to my next slide, which talks about the SWOT analysis. I want us to appreciate the industry. What are the strengths that we have? What are the threats in this industry? The weaknesses that we, the players in the industry, have, which we can deal with. What are the opportunities that the industry has for us? After doing this, I'm sure we shall be in position to appreciate or to answer the question of how and where to start in real estate. So to answer the question above, I thought it was that we first appreciate the SWOT analysis of the real estate industry. By the time we finish it, everyone will be in a position to deal with the question before us. Straight out to the strength. of the real estate industry in Uganda, because the points are specifically designed to the Ugandan kind of setup. When we talk about strength, especially those people who may not know, here we shall look at what the industry excels at that separates the industry from other industries. In Uganda, we have quite a number of industries. We have the agricultural industry, we have the trade and industry. We have so many industries around. But for us, our major concentration is going to be on the real estate industry. So what uniqueness, what's the strength that we have that can take the industry ahead in the years to come? One of the advantages or the strength of the real estate industry is that it creates real estate, generates passive income. This is very good. That, for example, when you develop your property somewhere, call it rental, it can help you to get some passive income. Passive income, we mean that income that comes into your pocket without being actively participative in bringing in that money. You know that most of the people don't have this kind of opportunity to earn passive income. When you are in employment, you must be there yourself, use your brain to work. If you have a business, you've got to sit there and make sure that money comes in when you're there. If you are into farming, people will tell you need to check on your farm every day. That's agriculture. If you don't do it, I've seen my brother talking about it. If you don't supervise agriculture, you can never get money out of it. But with their property, that's the beauty that we have, the strength that money can come in without you being there actively involved. That's the strength, and we need to capitalize on it to make sure that we build the industry. There is value appreciation of your investment. When you buy a piece of land somewhere, maybe 10 million, 20 million, and you keep it there, it appreciates in one way or another. It keeps on appreciating in value, which is not common. For example, if you're in the transport industry, the very day you buy the truck today, and the next day, if you bought it 50 million, the next day is 49 million. It never appreciates. That one doesn't happen in the industry of transport. So here we are lucky, we have a strength that your property can appreciate, your investment can appreciate. That's one of the strengths of the real estate industry. Sorry about that. Another one is limited capital or no capital at all required in some of the areas of the industry. For example, we talked about property agency. You don't need the capital to do that kind of arrangement. You only need to be smart yourself. You need to be a good marketeer, be professional, keep information on your fingertips all the time. Somebody needs a house, you know where the house is. Somebody needs a piece of land, you know where it is. So by the end of the day, you can make some good money out of it. I know some people, I know a brother, the companies in Koto, he started from that kind of arrangement. No capital at all, and at the end of the day, he's making it in life. So that's another strength that you have. If you are from school, you haven't found a job, it's one of the advantages. We don't need capital on some of the branches in real estate. It's a very good strength. We have free entry and exit. It's a plus at this level, call it a plus, that we have free entry and exit. You don't need to consult anyone. There is no regulator who is going to tell you why you're opening up this. No, you can come up as long as you organize it, you can come. If you are exiting, you have no papers to sign. So that's a strength for people who asking me how and where. This is a strength that you need to capitalize on to see how we go forward. There is the presence of Area Uganda. Area Uganda is the Association of Real Estate, Association of Real Estate Agents in Uganda. That's how we call it in full. Why am I calling it a strength? Because it's helping us to come together. Wilken is a member, and I see so many companies are members. Some have not yet come in, but at least we are there. Sometimes we share knowledge. They have started some small courses into real estate, which is helping our local agencies to grow, to become professional in one way or another. That is the strength that you need to capitalize on to make sure that you grow or you get your feet into the real estate industry. We have guaranteed security of your investment. When you are into real estate, you have your property somewhere, you've got a piece of land, that is security. Have you seen people saying, hey, that property belongs to Mr. Mukasa? Wow, even if it's not income generating, but the way they see Mr. Mukasa is different from the way they see someone who doesn't own a property. Let the people, even if you are, if it's a good car, someone will not appreciate it so much, but a piece of land, so it's because of the guaranteed security, that value, the intrinsic value that is embedded in there. is what we are looking up here. So it's a strength that we have, that we are lacking in our industry. Whatever you own is priceless. It's very good to keep property. Introduction of courses about the industry in the higher institutions of learning is also a plus for the industry. The industry is growing. That, for example, I know MOOCs has this kind of course. There is a bachelor's in real estate. So there's even masters at the same level. So if you are still looking for what to study, this is a plus, because the industry is just growing. If you keep yourself with this knowledge, you'll be there. So that is a plus to the industry. Availability of finance, the last strength I looked at. Time immemorial, some time back there, you couldn't get finance if you were into real estate. For example, like Wilken or any other player in the real industry. I personally walked into the bank some time back in 2010, trying to discuss an opportunity of financing some of the projects. And I was told in the face straight away that at the moment, we don't finance real estate. Anything to do with real estate, we don't finance. So that was it in 2010. But I'm glad by now, excuse me, banks are willing to give us finance. That is a plus that we need to capitalize on and see how we move forward. Straight away to weaknesses. Weaknesses, these are factors which may stop the industry from performing at its optimal level. For example, and they are normally internal that we can work on them. We as the players in the industry, these factors are internal. We need to address them and see how we change the performance of our industry. There is lack of professional realtors. Realtors are people who are dealing in property. So if you are into property, that's the, if they call you, you're not a lawyer, you're not what, but you are a realtor. But most of the people are not professional. They have not taken up the opportunities I've talked about up there, the strength that the association has brought some courses, their university courses in real estate. People need to take them up. So this is a weakness. People have remained unprofessional in the industry, which is eating us up day by day. We need to work on that weakness. There are continued acts of fraud by the players in the industry. Everybody knows about the fraud. We, the property managers, for example, have picked landlords' money from tenants, and we don't remit the same to the landlords. You know how people have sold air in terms of land. That is fraud. You've seen properties. I personally have clients here who have bought properties from property developers, but we keep on doing repairs every now and then. We have a property in Chaliwajala, we have one in Nigeria. We keep on working on them every day, every now and then, because people don't put cement when they're putting up. They want to maximize their returns at the end of the day. They don't put enough cement, and that is fraud. So that one is eating us up. Whoever buys a property doesn't want to buy a property again, and that one is affecting the industry. So weakness that we need to address. There's lack of willingness to create partnerships for better deals. We don't, Mr. Mukasa started with this point that maybe Kenneth, they don't know him, everybody wants to work in a vacuum somewhere, but we need to come together as an industry, start exploiting better deals, win good deals from the government, but that lack of willingness to work together is affecting us as players in the industry. Then we have failure to convince government about regulation. I talked about free and exit as one of the strengths that we have at the moment, but believe me, among other weaknesses, that is there as well. Because we don't have a regulator, we need to have regulators. You know, like you see radio stations, TVs, they are governed by the so-called UCC. Banks are under the Bank of Uganda. We have they are called what? Insurance companies. They're regulated by the insurance regulator. So you need someone to check everybody who is a player in the industry. But where we don't have it, this is why we have a lot of fraud, because we don't have a regulator. But we have failed as the players in this industry to convince the government that there is indeed a need. I appreciate the work that is done by Area Uganda to push for this, but maybe we haven't convinced enough the government. So we need this, our weakness as players. We need to push and see that we take these things through to help us achieve regulation. There is high-end lifestyles chosen by most of the players. Everybody knows this, that most of the players, they are young boys. They call them actually Nigeria boys, Tebe Road boys. Those boys, once they make a deal, 10 million, He has made some markup. They go spoil all that money. They enjoy it until it's done. This is affecting the growth of the industry. We need to plan, invest this money, reinvest it whenever money comes in. It's something small, reinvest so that you are here tomorrow, the other day. Plus, we boast of 13 years almost experience here now. We are still going. It's not that we've been maybe so wise, but it's God's luck. But we try our level best to make sure that we keep our lifestyles at bay so that we can continue growing as Wilken Property Services. We shall look at threats. Threats, these are factors that have potential to harm the industry, but they are beyond your reach. You see this fat shoe here? These people are trying to fight for their lives, but the shoe is bigger than them. It's going to step on them. So there are factors that you cannot control, but they are likely to endanger whatever you're dealing with. This person is running after his life, but the shoe is very big to run away from it. So these are threats that we have in the industry. That I'm having some good echoes here. Are you controlling them? They have gone, thank you. So these threats, we cannot control them because they are beyond us, but it's good to know them. When you know something which is dangerous to you, you must find a way of either dodging it or working on it, trying to live with it, but carefully. So those are some of the threats. Lack of regulation in the industry, I've talked about it, that because of lack of regulation, it is eating us up. It has caused fraud in the industry because if somebody steals from a client, there is no one who is going to check that person. But if we had such opportunities like insurance companies, like the regulator, we could bring people to book and we would have trust from the people we serve, but we don't have trust from the people we serve, basically because we don't have a regulator. We don't have control as the players. We can't, bring about regulation. It's the government help us here, but we need it and it's affecting us in terms of trust from the people we serve. Unclear taxes levied against the properties. We have quite a number of taxes on this industry. For example, if you own a property, there's what we call a property tax. Property tax is normally charged by local councils, call it KCCA, Machinje Savagavo, we have Kira Town Council. It's normally within a range of 6 to 8%, and landlords are suffering. We are witnesses here, we always work on it, but it's very disturbing because it's not very streamlined. After that, you have rental income. That one is charged at the end of every year by URA. You must have good books with URA. So that's one of the taxes that we are having. Then after that, if you're having a commercial, there's VAT on commercial properties, which must be paid on a monthly basis. If your property is on state council land in Kampala here, there's what we call ground rent. If it's sitting on Uganda land board land, there's what we call a premium that must be paid on an annual basis. So just such all taxes levied against one property, it's really too much for the property owners. It's a threat. We have tried through the area, Uganda, talk to government, and that's this all of these taxes should be collected by one body. Maybe they should be brought together so that you know at the end of the month, at the end of the year, I have this much to pay to URA. Then URA maybe distributes to other beneficiaries of the taxes. But honestly, today you are closed against KCCA, tomorrow URA comes, tomorrow Uganda body comes. It is too much for the property owners. So if you have anybody who sits around the Ministry of Finance and the government, please take that voice. High interest rates in the commercial banks. This is also another killer that we have in this industry. That finances is available, like I've talked about in my first slide. We have finances, but the interest rate is too high. At the moment, Bank of Uganda, we call it the central bank rate, is around 6.5%. And these commercial banks give us money on 19, 20, 24%. This is too much. If you want to bring up a property, believe me, you're going to benefit. So it's a key that people would love to go to bank and get this money, but the interest is too high that you can hardly make a gain out of it. The poor infrastructure is also eating us. Everybody knows that Ugandan roads are not the best. We have a few that will come in the opportunities, but for example, on Entebbe Road, just recently, but it has been like when you move on Entebbe Road from here up to Entebbe, there is no feeder road on Entebbe Road that has been tarmacked. It's only now the Bunamaya Reserve that has just been tarmacked, but all other roads are not tarmacked. So you can imagine the growth of real estate is affected because of the poor nature of roads. I appreciate Chida. Chida has some good roads here and there, but you find that where they are not work, some of them are very bad as well, and they affect the price. Whether you are having rent, you are having a plot, everything is affected in one way or another. Water supply, utility supply, all those ones fall under infrastructure, and it's not good enough. I am told, for example, in Chila, if you start around Chila, Nigeria, almost power goes every day. Water supply is not enough because of now the congestion, the development of so many people there. The utilities are not enough. So that poor infrastructure is affecting the industry on a serious note. Land wrangles, everyone wants land wrangles. They have created havoc in the country. It has reduced trust in the players, and we don't have much to do, but the government should help us and set clear laws and regulations to help us solve this problem. Price fluctuation is on the raw materials used in construction. Everybody's seeing this one is very current actually. It has just come in, but cement was 28,000 like 2 months ago, but now it's 39, 40, 42,000, which is a lot. It's almost over 15,000 increment. You cannot manage that. There is a iron bars, call it 16, size 16. It is now over 80,000 from 65,000. That's a lot, and it's affecting, it's likely to impact seriously on the industry unless government comes up and improve on that. We have effects of COVID-19. We are still living with them. That one especially affects commercial ratings because residential people have to stay in Kampala. They are here to stay, much as they don't have work or what, but they must find somewhere to stay because, you know, housing is a necessity that you cannot, it's a need, it's not a want. So we need to have them. But commercial is affected that many people have now, sorry about that, many people have resorted to working from home. We call it the new normal. Some people have reduced the size of their offices in Kampala. I was actually talking to one of my landlords here, the clients, and was telling me a colleague, one of the city moguls, has vacant units worth the 800 million in the several properties he has around Kampala. They are vacant, they don't have tenants. This is the effects of COVID-19. That vacant, very many commercial lettings or units are vacant, and it's a killer to the growth of the industry. That's a threat. Political climate affects us, especially where we've got some investors, some people are not certain of the future. Actually, a colleague was telling me, are you considering buying a property maybe in Dubai or neighboring countries, Uganda, where? So I asked him why. Because we are not, somehow you're not sure of Uganda 10 years, 20, what's going to happen. But that's why I'll leave it there. But somehow it scares away some of the possible investors that would have come in the industry. Opportunities in the real estate industry in Uganda. Opportunities, we are looking at favorable external factors that can give an industry a competitive edge. They are external, that's why we are having a key here. We want to try and unlock them because there are opportunities. If we set them, if we capitalize on them, the industry can go up very well. We have the growing population, which creates a housing deficit of approximately 2 million. Uganda today stands at, I'm among those people who believe that we are above 45 million because the census was the last done, it was 2014, and it's coming almost to 10 years. So we have gone beyond the 40 to 45 million in my assumption. So the deficit we are having of good housing is around 2 million. Someone will wonder, are people staying on streets? No, we only have street kids on the streets, but other people are staying maybe in estates, in homes, which are not good enough. They don't have good aeration, they don't have proper planning, they don't have clean water, they don't have toilets. So all of those houses, we don't conform them into the good housing. So that's why we're having a list of 2 million housing units that we must bring on board. That's an opportunity for property developers, for someone who wants to do in real estate. Please look at that housing will never be enough. That's why whenever the property is finished, you find 12 units up somewhere, maybe on the Tebe Road, up where in Nigeria, and it will all get tenants. That is a clear indication that the units are not enough. Technological advancements. We have a lot of technology on board. I'm glad government at least took away the OTT, you know, tax is not felt enough when you're paying it indirectly, but when you have to pay it directly, it gets on you so much. But whether you're paying OTT but indirectly, it is a good one from government. I appreciate that. So that technology we have internet, we have everything, we better use. For example, at Wilken, we have used it, and our tenants are not supposed to come and pay here rent physically. They use the banks, they use mobile money. You can use, we have a good arrangement with Airtel. You pay at the comfort of your sitting room. And when you pay, money goes directly to our account. And tomorrow we shall print statements here. Then your receipt generated, you just get a message on your phone that you paid rent. That's using technology. We should use technology to ease the lives of the people we serve, lives of our customers. That's the only way we can benefit from technology. In whatever you're thinking, ask yourself a question. How can I use technology to ease the lives of the people I serve? That is very key. That's the only benefit that you can get from technology. When you do that, believe me, the sky will be the limit. Infrastructure development in the country. Yes, this one contradicts with the one we had there, but it's a good one. We appreciate that. The government has tried. We have some roads. Look at Entebbe Express. Now it is true that you can drive from the airport in Entebbe and be in Chila within less than 30 minutes. That is a plus. That is why that area is growing so much, because of such a road that you can, at least you are sure there's no traffic jam. You can just move smoothly where you want to go. And so many feeders that have been worked on somewhere around Buziga, at least Tamak is there in some of the areas. That's why properties there can even be charged in dollars around Lugoa. So the infrastructure development is good for the country. We are having it, and please use that opportunity to make sure that you find your foot in the real estate industry. The enactment of the condominium law of 2001 is also a plus. It's an opportunity that we as the players must capitalize on, must sage to make sure that we make money out of your estate. Imagine now having 12 units in one plot, 50 by 100, 100 by 100, and every person who is there is a landlord on their own. They can take that title to the bank as collateral and get money, whatever amount of money they want, as long as their collateral fits. So this is good, and people are willing, people have submitted to it. So we need to use it and develop so many properties as we can to make sure that the industry grows. We have loopholes in government regulations. Yes, it's an opportunity that we must use as the players now, that the government, much as regulations are there, but somewhere the supervisors are not very serious. For example, you can bring up a property, and if you have a plan, for example, maybe a plan is 4-story building, but sometimes people have used it to create an extra room somewhere, somewhere they can earn. And the supervisors are weak. They don't see that. Occupational permits, people are not, we are not serious enough on occupational permits. You finish your property, whether you have finished maybe the down floor, people enter and start collecting money. But ordinarily, we must get the occupational permit first before people start using that property. So such loopholes in government regulations can be used to our benefit as long as they're not causing harm, please, to the population. We can use some of the loopholes there and thrive until the government becomes very serious on supervision of some of the things. Availability of cheap land. This is quite disturbing, but it's true. Uganda land is still cheap. Around Kampala, 20 kilometers away from Kampala, you can still get an acre in a range of 50 million, a range of 40 million, and all those areas are going to develop. So if you are looking at real estate, please, land is still cheap. Some people say in Wala, there is no Wala, especially in the KMA, Kampala metropolitan area, which has Kampala, Wachiso, and Mpigi and Mukono. All of those areas, land is still available. And you can still get an acre, less than 100 million. Please buy that land, keep it. Whatever happens, you will thank me later. Uganda is still an undeveloped country. Yes, especially for property developers, this point is for you, because we have a lot of slums around Kampala. These ones can be used, they can be developed into some good homes, solve this problem of 2 million. You don't need to go far because we still have undeveloped areas around Indeva, around Chaliwajala, around everywhere in Kampala. You can still get land that you can develop into. So that's why we are saying that Uganda is still undeveloped. Last on opportunities, we have the current trend to own land, property by Ugandans. This is the trend. everybody wants to own a piece of land. Everyone needs to have a piece of property somewhere. So as the players in this industry, we need to use this opportunity that Ugandans have appreciated, that in whatever you do, whether you're an ICT person, whether you're a doctor, whether you're what, at the end of the day, you need to have a property. This is an opportunity that we need to seize as players in this industry and make sure that we take the industry to another level. So conclusion, after looking at the threats, strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities, we are concluding this question: how and where to start in real estate? If you have people, for example, in summary, who want to become real estate agents, you can start as soon as yesterday. Why? The strength is on your side. We have said you don't need the capital. You only need your brain. You need to be smart enough. You need to be that go-getter person, and you are there. You can go anywhere in Uganda because we have cities in Mbarara, we have Bale, we have Gulu, all those are cities. But the KMA, Kampala Metropolitan Area, still has the better chances. For you, property development is another good area to look at. The opportunities have a good bet for you. We have just discussed them. But you need to prepare a considerable amount of capital to go into this branch of real estate. Property management still has a bright future. We have set the ball rolling, and we believe, believe me, we cannot cover the entire market. We've been here for 13 years, and believe me, it was not easy. 15 years ago, people did not know what property management you're talking about. I personally remember visiting one of the property owners trying to win business, because at the start, it was headhunting. We had to look for clients one by one, and we visited some gentleman in Endeavor there, I remember very well. He told me after sharing the business card, "What are you doing, you guys? What is this? Mugaba sentence, you come here. Mugaba sentence, you couldn't understand what property management talks about. But as we can now, and other players in the industry, we have set the ball rolling. If you want to come in, please come in, because we cannot cover the entire market. You're most welcome, but capital is key. You need some capital, and professionalism is very key in this very sector of real estate. Buying and selling is still very lucrative. We just talked about the last point, that the trend is to buy land. So it's very lucrative because each Ugandan's dream is to own a piece of land someday, somewhere. You need some capital on you to look at this option. If you want to invest in rentals, it is a good area of keeping your money safe. Invest in rentals, because we have a deficit of 2 million housing units we just talked about. But please note that the payback period is always between 7 to 10 years in rental. So it's not a good business when you're looking for, if you want to do the business, rental is not your thing. It's only thing that you can keep in your money, because the payback period is long. Payback period is the period in which you can recover your initial investment. For example, if you invested 500 million in an apartment, how long is it going to take you to recover the 500 million? That's what we call the payback period. And it's easy. You look at how do you get the formula is you get the total cost of the property and the net income per year. Net income, please, for example, if your property, 500 million value of property, it normally gives you 4 million, 4.5 per month. That will come up to around 4.5 times 12, comes around 54 million a year. Take off expenses, management, bills, water view, repairs, and I remain with around 40 million, I think. So get 500 million, which is your total cost, divide by the 40 million, you'll get around 10 or 9 years. That's what we call the payback period. It's quite long, but it's one of the ways that you can keep your money there. For valuation and surveying, this will be a need forever. We must live with it. If you have intentions of upgrading in education, or you have a child that is grown and you need them to go to the university, it's a very good area to look at. We have so many courses there. We have land economics, we have land surveying, and believe me, it pays off very well. If you have any intentions, invest in that, in further education. But you must be good in mathematics. There's a lot of mathematics there. Okay. By and large, we don't have a particular formula on how and where we can start from in real estate. You can start from anywhere, and depending on the path you have chosen to take. Please note that in whatever path you choose, the following are very key. You need to be patient. Patience is very key. You must have passion for what you do. If you're going for agency, have passion for it. If you have chosen real estate, have passion for it. Be there. and appreciate it. Do research so that you can know it very well. If you've chosen property development, yes, be there, and people are doing a good job. Have the best designs around, you will definitely make it. Honesty is part of it. There's no way you can build your estate and you are dishonest and expect something in return. Never. Professionalism is the key. That's why people are losing it, but professionalism is very key. We need to keep it. Social capital, need to have friends here and there, especially if you are to make some good sales. You need social capital and resilience. In whatever we do, even if not in real estate, we ought to be resilient. If you're not resilient enough, you must be a fighter. You don't give up, because you can chase a deal for 6 months and it doesn't materialize. But if you're resilient enough, at the end of the day, it can pay off. Basically, that is question number 1 of how and where we can start from real estate. I think everybody has gotten some good tips on it. Questions coming. I think Mr. Pascal will guide us. They can come in at the end. Question number 2 was common mistakes people make when starting up in real estate. What are the mistakes? There are so many mistakes. This person is warning us. Common mistakes. So here we have, here we have high expectations. Very many people have been disappointed and had to quit. Yes, you know, when you come into real estate, people think there's quick money. You can make money tomorrow, and they come in with all the big and zeal, and sometimes they are disappointed. So those high expectations are not good. They are mistakes people have committed. Either they have gone away or they are struggling so much. So you need to keep your expectations low. Like I've just said, that you can chase a deal for over 6 months. We have clients here with property management. You talk to that person maybe in January 2021, and he calls you in January 2022. Hey, Ken, we talked about this, and I think I'm ready now. After 12 months, that thing happens. So you talk to a client today until they experience a problem. We tell them that you can't manage these tenants. Owning a property is one thing and managing it total another. They say, my tenants are paying very well. They first get issues in there and then decide to come to you. So you need to keep your expectations low, but if you keep them high, you will get issues. Dishonesty by some of the players in the market. I've talked about this in my first slides. People are very dishonest in this industry, selling plots that do not exist, selling plots of not equal sizes. We property managers have chewed people's money. Property developers have messed us up in the way they develop properties. So this dishonesty is a mistake. People think that, but where you fail to do continued business in life, then you're not going to succeed. You need to plan for continued business. For example, we have had clients here, actually for a mistake or two, someone can terminate the contract and they go. But after 6 months, maybe after realizing, they come back because we are honest. At the moment, we don't have any client who has left Wilken because his money or her money was not submitted. There are issues of maybe managerial issues other than money. So when you're honest, you're most likely to get another referral somewhere, somehow. So that's why people have made mistakes, and we need to solve that problem. Failure to professionalize what people do is another huge problem. People have remained where they were. Fine, maybe you're making some money is coming in, but you need to try and professionalize. At Wilken, for example, we only employ on merit. If you're looking for an accountant, we shall look for people who are in that field. We don't bring relatives or what. No, we must employ someone who's on merit. That kind of professionalism helps you to grow. When you surround yourself with relatives, with friends, it's good sometimes, but sometimes it keeps you somewhere. You can't develop so much. So you need to go professional in whatever you do. Try to create processes and procedures that will help you to move your organization. Failure to use experts. We have to use lawyers, property managers, valuers, surveyors. We've gone to people's properties and you say somebody has brought up a property, very nice according to him, but the market demands are not met. There's no parking. It's a 2-bedroom house and everything, but doesn't provide. That person never provided for parking. You find that the rooms are very tiny. Maybe the master bedroom don't self-contained. So such things, if you use property managers, gone are the days, like now you have a personal doctor, you have a personal lawyer, you should have a property manager who guides you whenever you want to invest. People have bought land without using lawyers and they end up in very funny cases here and there. So those mistakes can be solved if you use experts in this field. Failure to do due diligence in transactions. I've seen so many people buying land, and you wonder, somebody just sees the land and goes ahead to buy it without opening boundaries, without checking around. Please look at the neighbors, ask them, is this land belonging to Mr. Mukasa, Ronald? Don't just take words of Mr. Mukasa and pay him. The next day, you're likely to lose your money. So that the mistakes, people get excited when they have some, maybe 50 million, just wants to buy a piece of land. And before you know, they have lost huge sums of money in cases. Uncalculated loans, like you've talked about the payback period of in rentals. So people have taken up loans to bring up rentals, but rentals don't pay off very well. They just keep your money. They give you some little cash flow every month, but they can't pay loans easily unless you have gone. Somebody who has 10 and above million collections can easily take up a loan they want. But when you're still in 2 million, 3 million, and you take up a loan, believe me, it becomes quite hard. So we need to calculate the loans we are taking up. People have taken up those mistakes, and they are hard biting. Starting big, allow yourself to grow. Some people are starting, if they have money, they create big offices, they rent high-end offices, and before you know, they have come down. So start small as you learn the industry. Whenever you give yourself time to learn. For example, for us, if I'm very honest, we were only 3 at the beginning, but right now we have around 45 people that work with Wilken Property Services. We never started big. We started small, day by day, and before you know, here we are. So start small. Please don't go and start something that is huge, which will be a problem for you to manage. Overpriced products. We've seen people coming up with rentals, but they are putting some good money, but because of the distance, maybe infrastructure development in the area, maybe the neighborhood, they can never get that money, but they overprice them. You've seen people subdividing land and overpricing it and doesn't. So this one, we need to make sure that we don't overprice our products to help us not to make mistakes of not getting our cash flow back as we intended. Those are some of the common mistakes that people in real estate who are starting up normally make. We shall straight away go to question number 3. How to manage growth in a real estate. This picture here talks about growth. You can see something is growing up here and there. When you are into this, this question means that somebody is into real estate already. Their God is on their side. They are trying to move steadily very well. So how do we manage that growth? My first point was intentional, hard work. It's quite funny that after all I've made it, we have grown. Why won't I relax? But please, whenever you're growing, hard work is required. Ask the big man in the State House, who will tell you. When you set the government, for example, become the president of the country, that's a huge step. But keeping into power is the hardest one. So you must have sleepless nights to make sure that you keep that power. So when you have a business and it is growing, hard work is required. I personally am always at office at around 6:30 every day, Monday to Friday. Maybe when I have a leave for something like that or I'm sick, but I'm here 6:30 every morning to make sure that we push this brand called Wilken Services. So hard work is the key in whatever you want. Don't relax at any single point that for me I've made it. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to continue pushing. Professionalize your workforce. We have talked about that. When you want things to move, you need to have a professional workforce. Employ people who have qualifications in the different fields. That's the only way you can manage the growth. Develop and implement policies and procedures. There is a keyword is develop and then implement. Very many people have developed policies and procedures and they keep them in their drawers only to be gotten by dust and everything. But if you implement them, that process is very good. For example, if you can tell you here at Wilken now, a client can come in. I told you at the beginning that a client at Wilken is a person who owns a property, the landlord. The landlord can come in here, is handled very well. The management agreement is signed. The person is entered into the system. We have a property management system that we use to manage the 5,000 customers, stock tenants I talked about. Is entered into the system. An estate manager is allocated. Rent starts coming in. when my office has not done anything. That is having policies and procedures in place. Whenever you have policies and procedures in place, it is easy to manage growth. That's something that I encourage everybody who is tuned in here to make sure that you try your level best to create at your workplace. It's very good. It makes life easy. Embrace technology and put systems in place. At least we have developers here. Our system that we use, I want to tell you that it was developed by a Ugandan. It's a property management system developed by a Ugandan. So embrace systems. We need them. If they can help us manage however growth you have, even if you have 10,000 tenants, we can still manage them. So you need to embrace technology and have the systems in place. They will help you to manage that growth. Be a member of reputable organizations like we talked about here. For example, we only have Area Uganda. Be a member. Lastly, I think like a week ago or two, we got a request from Bank of Uganda to bid for some property. I think it's owned by employees, a scheme, but they have a property, they wanted a property manager and we are called upon to bid. But one of the requirements in that bid was that you must be a member of Area Uganda. So be a member for you to manage your growth. Be a member of the associations to help you to manage their growth, to get connections and things like that. Continue being transparent and very honest in your dealings. That I've talked about it. Be honest, be transparent. Always look out for continued business. If you do repeated business, it's the only way you can proceed. You can keep that growth. Continue the business. Don't look at today's profit. No. Look at, am I able to do business with this person tomorrow? Can this person give me a referral the other day? That way, you'll be managing your growth. Benchmarking competitors is very key. Don't think you're the best. No one is the best. Continue looking at what your competitors have. What are they doing? What have they improved? How are they doing property management? How are they developing property developers? Look out at those properties. Sometimes they tell us, maybe builders come and see the properties have developed. Go and look at them and pick a leaf or two, if not the whole tree, to help you move around. Try and have contacts in the regulation authorities, the regulators. For example, KCCA, I've told you about the taxes. They'll always nag you. They'll always be on your neck with the property taxes. And before you know, they serve you the note today, next week they want to close. Imagine closing out your tenants. So when you have contacts there, keep those contacts. They will help you sometimes. URA, keep good. I know we try your level best to keep the books clean, but you believe me, you can never be clean with URA. They'll always get you here or there. So it's good to keep those contacts. National Transology Corporation, you need it. Sometimes we need extra meters to be given by National Water. You need contacts to help you with that. Umeme, you know how they slap the estimated bills, and before you know, your has disconnected. You put units, they are taken away. So you need contacts in all of these entities. If you want real estate, they help you to know, get more information about their policies and procedures, about how they do their work, and you can be helped. You can help your clients. Sometimes we help them so much because the client comes to you thinking that for you have the knowledge. Where you don't have information in any of this, then you're not helping that client. You should have knowledge, you should have contacts, just a call away, and you have the information that you need. Avoid persuasive adverts. Only informative is enough in this kind of industry. We don't need to over advertise. We are not selling Blue Band, we're not selling sugar, it's not juice. We're talking about property. Property, we don't do persuasive adverts. Because I've told you somebody will see you this year and come to you next year. So all he needs is information that company X exists. That's enough. And they will maybe Google, look for you, keep quiet. Somebody makes up their mind maybe in 6 months. So when you do, you spend a lot of money, and sometimes that because we don't have a regulator, people think maybe you're fraudulent. So you need to keep your advertising at bay. Even if you have grown and money is coming, advertise only to give information, but not persuasively. Okay, question number 4. So far it's an hour. How to manage debt in your real estate. Wow, this is a huge one. It's a huge one. Debt. Ask me about debt. You see this money here is on chain. Is enslaved by the debt. It is huge on him. That is debt for you. That's debt for you. Sometimes we can't avoid it. but this is it. Where you can avoid it. But we shall look at 1 or 2 slides to see how we can manage debt in real estate. Debt is good in some, and sometimes the only way to finance your business and possibly acquire more properties. While we have pros for debt in any business, it is important that it's managed very well. So some of the tips that I developed for us to look at include the following. Try your level best to understand the conditions, terms and conditions of the debt before you put pen to paper. You know, we have, sometimes when we need money, this one happens to everybody who has ever gone to the bank to get a loan. All your intention is to get the 100 million. That's where your eyes are. Want the 100 million to buy that piece of land, clear off this person, do this. You only want 100 million. Ask your credit officer, when is the loan coming through? When is it coming through? Have they approved? The code sign you just send. They have a huge bundle of papers you just sign. But I urge you, my brothers and sisters who are here, please try to read through and appreciate the terms and conditions of this loan you're taking. It is very key to help you. Make sure some people need to mute themselves. I have people who are talking, I think they have unmuted themselves. Good, thank you. Make sure you have proper books that you can present to your lenders. This builds confidence in them, which helps you in getting better terms. Books of accounts. Any business you do, I know people are trying so much to run away from URA, but believe me, you cannot. You need to keep good books of accounts because they help us in such instances. When you want to secure a loan, they'll ask you for the books of accounts. Where you have them, it becomes a little easier. It builds confidence with your lender so that you can get the loan easily. Sometimes people don't get the loans they want because banks fear the credibility issue. Are you going to pay us back? That's very important for these bankers. So you need to keep your books of accounts very clean so that you can get the loan that you want. Be a good negotiator. Sometimes we lose out because we are not good at negotiating. I talked about it. I'm going to discuss that in the next slide, that banks have loans in the range of 18, 19, 20, up to 24 years in Uganda. But sometimes, if depending on the amount of money you're taking, maybe if you're taking over 1 billion Uganda shillings, you can negotiate better, up to 15%. And believe me, these banks are looking for people to take this money. So if you're a good negotiator and you have a good business, you can negotiate better. Don't just be that flat person, 22%, and you just put pen to paper. No, negotiate further so that you can manage that debt very well. Concentrate on only one lender, please. I know people have some good cash flow and they can get money from this bank and another bank. Even after developing what we call the financial card by Bank of Uganda, so that the financial card helps the banks to know how many loans you have. You have one in the Centenary, you have one in Absa, another one, and they are moving all very well. Even in DTB will give you more money, I tell you, as long as you are servicing loans very well, you've got businesses that are running, you get the money. But it's important for us to manage our debt. Stick to one lender. Don't overstretch yourself. Much as you can, you have good cash flows, please stick to one lender. Know your debt status at all times. This is very key. Get to know your debt status. Now, all banks, I presume, have apps. I have apps here on my phone. You can just check and see. If you Google, for example, into Absa, somewhere down there, they will tell you your loan balance is this. Maybe 50 million is remained, 40 million is remained. If you know your balance at all times, don't be that person who doesn't know anything. No, know your bank balance, know your debt balance all the time by using these bank apps. It will help you manage your debt very well. Use loan apps before you even go to the bank. It's different from the other one. Loan apps, we have some loan apps. For example, me on my phone here, I have, it's called EMI calculator. You can even calculate for yourself before you go to the bank. You put in the amount you want to get from the bank, the interest rate. If you know, you can ask your credit officer how much, maybe 19%, 24%, put it there. Payment period, maybe 24 months, you will get the amount that you're likely to pay back. So by the time you go to the bank, you already know what you want to bargain for by using these loan apps. You can easily convince yourself before you work with the bank and tell them exactly what you want. So in Uganda today, given the central bank rate, we talked about that CBR, which is around 6.5%, the commercial banks stand between 19 and 24%. Banks always are very expensive because look what they get money from bank for people who are here. For information, normally these commercial banks get money from the central bank to lend to us. But they get it at 6.5 and they give us the money at 19, sometimes 24%. The reason major, if you talk to bankers, is the credibility of Ugandans. Because we don't have enough systems here in Uganda, somebody can get money, maybe 20 million, and disappear completely, shift from where he's been staying. If he was selling local business, he has lost everything. So that's why we are still very expensive online. In developed world, this is not the interest rate. You can get money at around 6-7% because that's the major thing, credibility. People are normally very honest when they take up loans. But here, the uncertainties are too much. That's why banks charge us like this. So depending on the bank and the type of loan, you'll get either 19 or 24%. This is almost impossible to thrive on debt in such a hostile environment. I want to tell you this environment is very hostile for a business person. 19-24%, hardly can you make. You need God's grace to make business sense out of this. But because this is our country where we must operate flow, we have no alternative. We've got to use these banks. So I'll give further tips. I said that, for example, I'll give further more advice in different categories. For example, if you want to buy a piece of land for either purpose, the contribution from the facility should not exceed 40%, please. For example, if you want to buy a piece of land at 100 million, you should have 60 million. Only go to the bank for the 40 million. And by the way, let me tell you from experience that if you have 60 million with you, you can easily and ably buy land of 100 million. Walk to the person, the vendor who is selling the land. I have 60 million, 40 million, I'll pay in bits. You may not need to go to the bank. I'll bring 10 every month, depending on your cash flow. So you may not necessarily go to the bank. Some of us think that we must buy land 100%. No, I've been in deals, I've seen in deals, even those rich people, you know, they buy properties of 2 billion, but he can only present 1 billion. The 1 billion is going to come in 4 or 5 installments. That's how people do. So you don't need to go and borrow a lot when whether the land is going to be used for your own consumption, residential house, or whether you're going to put rentals, please be calculative. You don't need to go for huge debt to buy that piece of land. At least you should have 60% of the required funds. It's not recommendable to go for a facility when you are constructing your residential house. Professionals, we have a problem with this. Very many people, you know, it's still a culture that is disturbing us. It's a culture in Uganda that for someone to be considered, to be appreciated in the property, you must be married, which is a good thing. You must own a home. So people after the university gets a good job somewhere, URA, UCC, anywhere, or privately employed. For people to appreciate you, you must have the above. And people to achieve this, they have ended up in banks, getting loans to put up residential homes. This is a killer. You should organize your little money here and there. Try to put up your house. Even if it takes 5 years, it is okay. Finish 2 rooms maybe and enter. If you're not that kind of person who can enter and unfinish the house, at least go to the bank in the last stages of the property. Maybe you want paint, you want to put pavers in the compound, you want to put glasses. Those are the instances that you should go to the bank so that it doesn't stretch you so much. If we don't do this, if we do this, I mean, we shall be able to manage debt. Rentals. It is still a killer to go for a facility when you are in the early stages of the project. Like I told you, the payback period, discussed it already. So don't go. I've seen people, they have rentals, they bring them here by the way. They collect 4 million a month, but they must submit around 6 million per month to the bank. And we struggle with them so much. So it is improper just to go to the bank during the final stages, tiling, paint, maybe fixing a few plumbing materials here and there, only that. So that by the time you finish the property, maybe the project is 800 million, and you only need 50 million to do the finishing, so that the monthly installment is around 3 million. and your property has around 7 million income every month. That one will not give you a lot of pressure. It will help you to manage debt. It's not advisable to acquire 100% mortgage financing. I know some banks, housing finance, that this gives you 100% mortgage finance. Mortgage is a situation where you go, you've seen a house maybe somewhere in Nigeria, it's 300 million, you want to buy it, you've got this good job, you can present the papers and everything, the title, that will be the collateral itself, and the banks will give you this money, 100%, as long as you have a good job that can service this loan. But believe me, you're going to pay this loan for around 10 years. It's too much on you. You don't need this. So don't find, even if there is something very interesting with the bank, please don't take it up 100%. At least have 50%. First mobilize your money, organize maybe 150 million, and then the balance you can go to the bank. It makes more sense other than going for 100% kind of financing. Property developers have some friendly products in some of the banks. Some banks, I know Housing Finance has this opportunity, Equity Bank has this opportunity where you can go and get money. If you're a property developer, you have your piece of land, you've done the plans, they're approved by the relevant councils, you've done the BOQs, maybe the project is 1 billion. If you present to the bank, they'll use this as the collateral security. This is all the papers, the title of the land, the plans, the BOQs, they'll put them there and they'll give you the finance. But the financing comes in bits. They can give you 200 million to start on the first phase. They will supervise, give you 300 million. You push like that until you finish. So they give you an allowance of 6 months before you start paying for this kind of arrangement. So this is, I think, good enough for property developers. If you're lucky enough, before you even start paying, or maybe before you pay the second installment, you have sold off the property and take back people's money. I'm in for this kind of product. If you have a piece of land, try it out. I know those banks have it. Conclusively, there are quite a number of gains that people who operate with loans have managed to back. But it's important to note that quite a number of people and businesses have gone under because of debt. The best thing, therefore, would be to avoid debt. But where you can't, let be carefully manage it using the tips that we have shared above. Thank you so much. My last task was working with partners in real estate. How do you work with partners in real estate? It's a good question. Thank you so much, Mr. Mukasa Ronald and Enterprise Uganda. This picture here, we are having 3 wonderful ladies here. They are partnering to bring up some wonderful business, some project. You can see it growing. At least it has started coming up. So this is what we are talking about. How do we bring people together to make sure that we lift real estate as our industry? So working with the partners in real estate is something that we cannot avoid. This is because the fact that real estate is a very capital intensive industry. It's very capital intensive, and there is no way you can avoid partnerships. At Wilken, we have used them. We have been with partners in different sectors, different sections. So you need partners somewhere, somehow. In dealing with business partners, the choice of a business partner plays a crucial role towards its success. Below are some of the highlights that you must look out for considering, if you're considering a partnership. I started with this, that what we must appreciate is that you will not get a good partner or any partners at all before you start. There's an American author called Zig Ziglar. One time he said that you don't have to be great to start. You only have to start to be great. I'll repeat it. You don't have to be great to start. You only have to start to become great. So if you want to get those good partners you're looking at, please don't first hunt them with your briefcase. No, start up something. Try your level best. I mean, punch yourself together so that you can start up something. Don't demean yourself. Start small. You can only become great when you choose to start. Where you don't start, believe me, you'll never be great. So that's one of the things that you need to get partners. You must be there. People also looking people who have done something. What have you done so far? Do something, partners will be coming. Deal with the partners who share the same vision with you. You need to have people who are on the same boat with you. But where you have people For example, for you want to trade in property management, that has been a niche, and somebody wants to do maybe the style of Jomai or Sema properties, that one will not work because you need to push the same vision. The partner you're getting, make sure you agree this in principle at inception, that this is the animal we are going to chase. We are chasing it this way. When you don't have a shared vision, believe me, you will hit a rock somewhere. Look out for people who are credible and resourceful in nature. Don't just look for Tom and Jerry because they have some common with them. No, you must have people who are credible. I tell you that people you cannot do business with, much as they may have money. Yes, we appreciate them, but you can't do business with them. They're not credible. I mean, they will give you problems here and there. They're not resourceful. They don't know anything. You need people who are credible enough to help you nurture whatever you're bringing out. They must be resourceful to push the project forward. Carefully define each partner's role. If you did partnership, you know you have quite a number of types in partnership. We have passive partners, we have quasi partners, we have active partners. I think quasi partners, if I remember my school days very well, are those people who have made their name, call it the baby wines of this world, the baby calls, the who, and you want to use their name. For them, they are just paid because they're using their name. Active partners, you work with them every day. Passive partners, they bring in money, but they are not actively involved in the running of the business. They only expect their cut at the end of the day. So define each partner's role. Are you going to be a passive partner? If you're going to be active, what are you doing? What am I doing? That is very key. You need it to make sure that you sail through if you are dealing with partnership in real estate. Put everything in writing with the help of a legal personnel. Much as the person is your relative, much as the person is your friend, much as the person is what, everything should, much as you trust that person like how. We've seen people trusting, we've seen marriages breaking down. Imagine that kind of trust but breaking down. So you need legal personnel to help you put this thing together so that even if any disagreements come around, you have somewhere to refer to and settle that disagreement. Insist on professionalism. We have talked about professional. Whatever you do, even if you're friends, even if you're relatives, don't do things just like that. Things should be handled in a professional way. It's the only way you can survive if you are in partnership. Embrace social capital. For example, if you've started something small and you're looking out to get partners to boost your business here and there, be out there sometimes to look for networks here and there. Look for friends who matter. Attend such a, for example, Enterprise Uganda always have these services here and there, physical service. Attend them. You can get someone. Attend, go to hotels, go and sip juice, have a cup of coffee. You can get partners there, one or another. So social capital is very key in a real estate, especially when you want to partner with someone. Create rapport with some of the players in the industry. We have so many players that I've talked about them. We have those ones in property management. We have others in agencies, agencies there. We have those on property development. Sometimes you find that you cannot do everything because the industry is wide. You cannot do everything. Can you create rapport with some of these players so that when you have maybe valuation job, you know where to go. You have this, you know where to go. You have a client who wants this, you know where to go. This rapport is very important. We need it if we are to succeed in these partnerships. Maintaining good books of accounts. I've seen people, we call them, is it a capital, venture capital, something like that. Venture capitalists, they normally need this so much. You must have good books of accounts to make sure that they appreciate what you do. Your thing is very handled professionally, and they can bring in their finances for you to move on very well. Stick to only sharing dividends at the end of the year. Yes, where the business is positive and you're making some money, if you want it to grow, please make sure at the end of the year is the only day that you look at the dividends that you have and share a little, invest some back into the business. These terms and conditions should be very clear if partnership is to succeed. Presentation summary. I had 5 questions and I've done all of them. So I had a summary, especially since we had post-COVID recovery. It's important that how do we recover now that we've been in COVID? A few steps, a few hits have been put together to make sure that if they help us, maybe those who are already in real estate, how do we recover and get going? Real estate industry is not at its best right now in the country, majorly because of the effects of COVID-19. But we can project that the industry will pick up in the near future. We expect it to be back in full. We expect it to be back in full business, especially after the removal of curfew and the eventual opening of the night economy. Night economy is very powerful. When they remove the curfew, now supermarkets can work up to 10:30. People can go and hang out up to any time they want without fearing police officers stopping them. Hotels are working very well. There is magic in night economy. Night economy brings money so much in the country. So we need it so much. Now that it's fully open 4 months down the road, we are sure we shall move. The sector is going to move to boom again. We are optimistic that even its contribution on the country's GDP will continue to grow beyond the current 7.5%. The current challenge now is the skyrocketing prices of building materials. This is the serious bottleneck, but we are hopeful that the people in charge are going to address this. I know some people tell us that it's the war between Russia and Ukraine, but I want to differ because the war just started in, was it February 24th? That's when Russia attacked Ukraine the very first day. You can't tell me that the effects are, we are feeling the effects right now, because what we get in Ukraine or Russia, there should be raw materials, which by now, even 2 months down the road, they have not even reached Uganda. How do you convince me that they have affected us? Fuel was already up by December, fuel was 5,000, it was known. So it's not majorly or 100% the Russia-Ukraine conflict, but some things are here. I think people in the Ministry of Finance, my lecturer Ramadan Gobi, we think can get fixed very fast. Otherwise, it's going to affect the industry so much. Currently, if you have any construction going on, you're looking at things, how to recover. If you have any construction going on, it's likely that the construction will go up by 30% from the original intended cost, the original BOQ. If you intended that this property will take 300 million away from me, you have professional BOQs. Believe me, if we continue constructing right now, the total, the cost of construction will go up by 30%. And I'm afraid that the total property value will not go up in the same proportion. If you want, we can bet on this, that after a property is done this period, and you try to value it using a professional value, if it was supposed to be around 400 million, the best you can get is around 410 million. So it is not right to go into construction. The best thing to do now is to pause it. Where you can pause it, unless otherwise, but pause that construction. It's likely to go up by 30%, which is a killer to you and any person. If you have tenants, in the case of a property manager, forge payment plans with the struggling tenants. I know people are still struggling up to today. We have tenants who are still struggling here and there. Their jobs have not picked up yet. Please forge payment plans. Where possible, accept the loss and move on. We have these landlords. You have a tenant who pays 500. He has spent 6 months without paying. Please accept that loss and move on. Get a new tenant who can pay you, who has a steady job maybe and can pay you. I can tell you at Wilken, we had, by August last year, we had quite big sums of money in arrears, but we have used part of these payment plans, and in some instances, we've got to let tenants go. We convince our landlords, please go, and we see how we can recover. We have given out waivers. If your tenant has maybe 4 months, give them 2 months so that they pay you the 2 months and then you move forward. Don't be that person who is hard, that doesn't appreciate that the economy went down for the whole of 2020, 2019, 2022. You need to appreciate that and see how we get out of that strong pitch. Use emotional intelligence when increasing rent. The economy has not picked up yet. Where you can, wait, but where you have to, be very cautious. I told you about somebody who has vacant units in a range of 800 million in value. They don't have tenants. So don't just wake up and just increase rent. Be very calculative when you're increasing rent, because people will go away. People will close, not because that's what they want, but they cannot afford. I know you're also squeezed. You have a bank loan, you have what? but please calm down. Calm down. If you're increasing, use emotional intelligence. Be very cautious. Where you can, please wait until the economy picks up. I recommend that if you have some money, continue buying land. Land in the 20, 30 kilometers of the city center is good. It appreciates more. I don't know whether people know this very well. For example, if you buy a piece of land, let's go for Nigeria today, 200 million, 50 by 100. The way it grows, maybe next year to be 230, 220, maybe 50 at most if you're lucky enough. But if you buy, for example, I talked about buying an acre somewhere, 50 million. If you're lucky and God is on your side, because those areas, Nakauka Road, maybe Gaza Road, off somewhere, they don't have tamaka yet. There's no tamaka yet. And if tamaka ever comes after you have just bought land, land will almost double in the value. If you get electricity in that area, when you bought when it wasn't there, land will just double in the value. This is the best way to try and grow into your estate. I have this thing that buy land and wait. Don't wait to buy land. People know, have this saying that analogy, in Wala, please buy land and wait. Don't wait to buy land. That is very key. Loans at the moment is not a good move. Given the status of the economy, this move is not good for real estate. Where you can, please don't take loans, unless when in extreme cases. Keep your books clean with URA and other authorities. I know it's hard to keep books clean, but try your level best. Try your level best and keep your books clean. Where you can't, and keep those contacts, by the way. Keep the contacts with you, whereby if a case comes up, you know you are just a call away to someone to help you and see how you can go about this particular case. Lastly, one of the greatest building vehicles over time has been real estate. The story of real estate has been traced back to the Stone Age periods. And from the look of things, it's not going anywhere soon. Real estate is here to stay. If you're investing in, please invest in. It's just growing here in Uganda. Most of the land is still vacant. The population is growing. It's projected to grow further. We have very energetic younger people. They're going to produce more children. So in around 20, 30 years, they're projected to be around 80 million. All those people will need housing, and the property will be the thing. So please, it's not going anywhere any soon. You are on the right track if you are into real estate. I got this last quote from Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki has a very good book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you haven't read it, you need to read that book. It's massive. But this is the quote that we're looking at. Real estate investments, even on a small scale, remains a tried and the true means of building an individual's cash flow and wealth. Powerful, powerful, powerful message here. I love keyword small scale. So it's no, we're not talking about the rich people. Leave alone the figures I've been using, 500 million, what have you. Even on small scale, it remains a tried and true means of building cash flow. Cash flow is the key where you don't have cash. Someone was telling me that money is not everything, but somewhere, somehow, it is rated like oxygen. You get that point? We don't need it so much, but it's not everything, but my dear, it's rated as oxygen, almost rated to oxygen. So cash flow is very key in our daily lives. It creates wealth. So why not try it? Real estate investments, even on a small scale, remains a tried and true means of building an individual's cash flow and wealth. From me, Mr. Mukasa and Enterprise Uganda, and the 93-91 audience, I want to thank you for the opportunity that was given to me to speak to you. Mr. Mukasa, please back to you. Thank you so very much.
Wow, wow, wow. Thanks a lot, Kenneth, for that submission. It was quite an insightful submission. I hope you are considering being a lecturer. This is what they call dissecting the real estate industry. I felt I was so, I really just give a thumbs up to Kenneth for his submission. First of all, the recording is going to be available. There is quite a lot to learn. I love the way you kind of dissected the topic and walked through those of us who are starting, walked through those of us who are in the industry, those of us whose fingers have been burnt in the industry. I feel like there was something for everyone. Now, friends, I'm going to request that you just allow us. We know that we usually end at about 10:30, but I'm going to request that you allow us 15 to 20 minutes to just allow Kenneth to answer the questions which are coming through. Many questions have come through. Kenneth, I'll just read out a few of the questions that you have. If you want to ask a question, I'll give an opportunity to 2-3 people. I see Millie's hand. Please do put up your hand. I'll give you an opportunity to address Kenneth's question. But Kenneth, thank you so much for this submission. I was so enriched. And as I said earlier, all of us are in the real estate industry in one way or the other. The idea of how to look at the industry, the difference between the person we call a broker, who you call the property agency, and the property management services, how the developers, and where we can be able to go. And even the young person who is on this call who says, I want to be in real estate, there is actually work for you. And Mr. Semmanda has really made that clear in his submission. I'll give an opportunity to a couple of people. If you want to say something, please put up your hand and I will unmute. Millie, you can go first, and then I will give an opportunity to other people and ask the other questions in the chat, and Kenneth will come back to just give us a few responses to those questions.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Semmanda. You made a reference to my question about buying land 20-30 kilometers. Please speak specifically to districts like Luwelo. We keep talking about Kampala Metropolitan, but there are other districts that are bordering Kampala. Of course, we are struggling in those districts, including PG, with infrastructure, something that you have well alluded to. Do you think it's a wise thing at this point in time to put up money in places like Luwelo? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Millie, for that question. If you want to ask, please put up your hand. Kenneth, there is a question which also came from Emmanuel. First of all, it is how do you become a member of the real estate association that you mentioned? Yes, area, Uganda, how does one become a member? There was a question on whether there is a WhatsApp group as Wilken Property Services, which people can join and see your properties, or your website, and how can they be able to engage? I imagine many people, someone also asked whether they can be able, someone asked whether they can be able to tap into your network as Wilken, and how they can be able to use your services. So possibly you give us the contacts of how we can reach out. Then Jude asked, low-cost housing technologies, are there any which can be able to reduce the cost of building the house? Are there any which you have engaged with, which you think have been successful, and you can be able to share on those? Kenneth, I will hand back to you and you answer those questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mukasa. I'm glad you appreciated the presentation. Thank you so much. Lecturing, wow, I haven't considered that, but thank you so much for appreciating the work that we have done. And I appreciate the audience. Thank you so much for raising up these questions. My sister started with the question of, we are talking about the KMA, Kampala Metropolitan area so much. How about other districts like Luwelo that border the KMA? Is it a good thing to buy land from those areas? Yes, in my opinion, yes, especially land in Uganda, which is titled land. You know, some areas in Uganda don't have titles, but Uganda is titled land. It is a yes from me, especially now when you go to, or whenever you move out of the city center, the land you should buy, the logic is buy a chunk of land. Because when you're in Uganda, you have 50 by 100, even if it's titled, there is very less value. There's little that you can do on that land. But if you are in a well and you have your 5 acres, you have your 10 acres, you have your 30 acres, even if you just decided to go into farming, you can even get, for example, as we're talking about them, people can come up and you go into collaborate with them to do maybe a school, something like that. So land outside Kampala is good like a well, but it should be big enough to make some economic sense. If it's small, it won't make economic sense to be maybe for residential or anything. But if it's big enough, land is good everywhere. Especially here, we are talking about acres. You should have 10 plus acres, which you can do anything. I've seen Kapushenga does farming, the Rugendo coffee. It's somewhere in Wakiso here, and he's done a good job. So he bought a good piece of land, huge in size, and is doing very well when it comes to coffee. So when you have land, they taught us during our primary O-level chemistry, they tell us factors of production. Land was one of them. I'm unlucky that I've never got a teacher who expounded on that to appreciate how is land a factor of production. During those days, you were 13, 15 years old. You only appreciate now when you've grown up that indeed you cannot do anything without land. So it's a factor of production. So when you have land, Madam, was it Florence? That is a factor of production. And you should have, when you are out from Kampala, it should be a little big to make some sense in production. How does someone become a member of Area Uganda? Area Uganda is this. For example, if you are an individual, we have 200,000. That's what they pay on an annual basis to be a member. If you're a company like a Wilken, we pay 1 million every year, and so you can be a member. They are on this building is called what? There's an office, and Entebbe Road. I'm forgetting that. Conrad Plaza, Entebbe Road, down there. That's where the institute is, and there's also an office. There's an institute for this area, Uganda. You can visit there and find out. There's a lady called Vicky. She will take you through on how you can become a member. Does we can have a WhatsApp group or website? Yes, we have WhatsApp groups, but unfortunately, they are only for internal management of the organization. Maybe our customers, we call tenants, our clients, but it's not open to everyone. However, our website is available. It's www.wekenpropertyservices.com. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have you can get us even on there's actually a WhatsApp number that we use, 0701 3366. You can get us on all those numbers. But the website is there and all those details are there. Once you click in wekenpropertyservices.com, www, you will get us there very well. Low cost housing options. That was the last question, Mr. Mukasa. You know, low cost is differs. Low cost differs. Low cost, are you putting up apartments, but you want low cost? Are you putting up a residential house, but you want a low cost? It differs. But yes, I've not personally used them, but I've seen people using them. Especially, for example, when you go for these bricks, if you go, there's a factory, or it's a plant, call it a plant, just around a building maze. It's called a terrain, something like that. They have some unique machines which makes bricks on site. They make very unique bricks. Those are interlocking bricks, whereby you don't need cement, you don't need sand at some stage. The bricks are made from there instantly, and they are interlocked while you're building. So those are some of the measures that we have. But I've personally not invested in them. I haven't used them, but I've seen people using them. So there you'll be saving from sinew, you'll be saving man on cement and everything because you're using interlocking bricks. The machine will help you interlock with them instantly as you're building. Those are some of the things that we can use, but I've not used it before. I can't give you figures that you can, if you do this, you will save this much. No, but at least out of common sense, if you use interlocking bricks, it's definitely true that you're saving on sand and cement. So definitely, at the end of the day, you'll have some savings aside other than someone who is using them in full body the way we use them normally. Thank you so much, Mr. Mukasa.
Wow, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Great. We're coming to the end. I see a couple of comments here. Maureen saying, thank you very much for the eye-opening presentation. Audrey is saying, thank you so much for the presentation. Very, very insightful. Sarah is saying, thanks a lot. Dennis is saying exactly the same. I am so incited. I imagine it was a very insightful session. Susan is saying it was a fantastic session. Barbara Walukembe is saying very insightful. Clearly, all of us, I think, share in that. We felt like our eyes were open to this amazing industry. And we want to thank you, Kenneth, for your kindness to share. I think Linda Biaruhanga had this to say, thank you so much, Mr. Semmanda, for this informative real life experience, very educative presentation. I'm humbled by your openness to share real guidance. Thanks a lot, Kenneth. I think that's a comment. Harriet had the same today. Very eye-opening session, very educative from Wilson, very educative from Navire, and a number of other comments are really coming through. I'm going to request that we kind of send through all those comments to just say thank you to Kenneth. Kenneth, a big thank you. It is 45 past, and we usually want to end at about before 11 for sure. But I just want to say that one of the things which I feel like the session has given us is it has given us ammunition to enter the real estate industry. Those of us who are not, and those of us whose fingers have been burnt, and I believe it's many of us here, we have at least seen exactly where our fingers got burned. Kenneth, I've also tried to be a land dealer. And I think you talked about the fact that when you get the first deal done, you get very excited and you spend all the profit. I guess that was a big error many make in this industry. And the deals can be big. You can make a very big deal and you say, why don't I celebrate with my wife? But I guess that Kenneth has been in this industry long enough to know which mistakes we have made. All of us who are here, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Kenneth. May there be a blessing in your business for sharing your wisdom with us. Those of you who are looking for a property manager, I think, Kenneth, we don't need to say anything. They should just come to Wilkins. We have an office on Entebbe Road, said opposite FDC office. There is an office in Ntinda. Kenneth, I'm going to just request that you share your Twitter handle and the phone contact, the WhatsApp phone contact in the chat room. Just put those in the chat room and the Facebook page. I'm going to request those of us on Twitter, please look for Wilken Property Services. I think their handle is at Wilken Limited. And follow them. Just look for them and follow them. Give them a bit of following as a result of this session, so that we can be able to give back to the business as Kenneth has generously given back to us today. Thank you so much, everyone. And we'll be back next week with another insightful session. This recording is available. It will be sent to you possibly by the end of the day. I'm going to request that if you have a friend who didn't participate, just send them the recording so that they can be able to also plug in. Thanks a lot once again and have a lovely week. Keep engaging. If you have a contact, you want to link up with someone here, we keep the meeting open for another 10 minutes. Kenneth has shared the website. Just go to them, their offices. Also the WhatsApp number, Kenneth, would be nice so that we can be able to reach out if you need their services in any way. You want to buy a piece of land, he said affordable pieces of land, just go to Wilken Properties and have that done. The WhatsApp number has been shared. Thanks a lot once again and have a lovely rest of your Thursday. We'll keep the meeting open for any people who want to engage and say hi to each other in the chat box so that we can.
I cried for love. You poured your grace when I was thirsty. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Muribana said,
Era yakuwa. Vaya puta. Ya madre. Let me think.